Hi, welcome back. This is Marlene with Angels Among Us. I'd like to say thank you for staying with me here. Boy, if nothing else, this is going to be like I don't know, a reality show that makes you just shake your head and go, oh my gosh. But anyway, it's actually, I don't even know how to describe it other than I'm just going to tell you what it is. Uh, I said that I was going to continue this part, which would be 4B, with my sisters. But before I get to that, I realize that I have to tell you a story about before my sisters because it's important. So, this video, we're going to talk a little bit about my neighbors. Now, remember that I lived with my sister when I came back from the other state for 9 months, and then I got my own place. Okay, so this is where this is going to start. So when I got my own place, literally from the day I moved in, I mean, I was excited. I was feeling good. Things felt so much better. But there was one thing right off the bat that I noticed was strange. I'm at CenturyLink here to get my internet hooked up. So the guy comes in, and originally this had been in the kitchen, and the place is empty. So, generally when someone comes in to put internet in your house, they ask you, well, where would you like to have the box? That's the first question they ask. And then they look and see if it's possible or doable, which it has never not been, but sometimes they'll say, the wire's got to be outside the house. Not the end of the world. Never even an option. He walks in, he starts to go for the kitchen stuff. I said, hey, wait a second. This isn't where I want the box. I want it in this room. And he takes one step in where I'm in now, and he went like this, and he goes, no, can't happen. I said, well, are you sure? He goes, no, it has to be in the kitchen. It was just like that. And I thought, okay, that was just really weird. No conversation, no nothing. But I'm like, okay, I can survive it where it is. I just preferred it to be in here so I don't have to push it around the kitchen cupboard all the time. So he says, oh, well, I can give you, I know I might have this wrong, but I think he said 20 or 24 gigabytes of speed or something like that. I don't know this stuff very well. When, it would have been less than half of that under this plan I was getting. And I thought, oh, by the way, he was 5 minutes late. Not a big whoop. And so I thought to myself, well, why does he want to give me fast service? Of course, my receptors go up, and I start thinking about all this crazy stuff that I was experiencing in the other state, which was like a CenturyLink truck sitting outside. I was having lots of really weird things happen. And I'm like, great, so does somebody want to get to my internet, and this just makes it a lot simpler? And does this guy even really work for this company? And, all this stuff's going through my mind. But I'm like, you know what? Just, it is what it is. I can't change it. Whatever will be, will be. That's it. So I got the service, and that was just one of the things. I also remember moving in over a couple days, and every time I went to the bathroom, I started realizing somebody went to the bathroom at the exact same time I did. Now, they had 4 people up there at the time, and I thought, I kind of giggled about it, and I thought, what are the odds of this? Anyway, I thought, what are the odds of this? Well, then I kind of blew it off. Then as time went on, I started realizing that, yes, they go to the bathroom every single time I go to the bathroom. But then that situation continued on. It wasn't just the bathroom. If I went into the office or into this room, which I used to have a big file cabinet in here, I'm just using that for an example. Literally, if I dropped something behind that file cabinet, they were in the corner right above me. If I went into my bedroom, they were over me in the bedroom. And They had a young girl, I want to say roughly 8, and another gal that was 18, 19 years old. Um, and I started realizing more and more that this little girl wasn't there on a regular basis. And those were both of her parents. Or excuse me, the father lived someplace else, like in Mexico. Mother was here, but it wasn't like she was going to her other parents. The parents that were here were here. Um, she wasn't here all the time. Yet she had school and she had all this stuff, and it was just really odd. And I also noticed that the other girl wasn't here very much. I started noticing that I realized that I was never, and still am, never, never, ever, ever alone in my apartment without somebody being upstairs above me. And literally moving from room to room to room as I move from room to room to room. So I'm over it. Never been hurt, never been whatever. If they're watching me, they got to be getting pretty bored. That's all I can tell you. But it's part of this whole experience. And then there was more with that started going on as time went on. Well, when I was in the other state, and this is kind of when I was really sick, I started realizing that why is the furnace fan like running so long? Like when we used to turn the AC on, it'd run for like 10 minutes and the place would be cool. It cooled off great. It was one of the things we noticed about the house when we bought it, that how quickly it cooled off. Well, then at some point I started realizing, like, why is that fan running so long? It would just go on and on and on. And that is a whole nother story back there again. But let's just stick to this one. Anyway, I started realizing that I was walking by my the switch for the furnace air conditioner. It's like one of those old ones, just heat or cold and nothing fancy. And every time I started walking by it, it would turn on or off. And I'm like, does this thing have some sensor in it? Does somebody have a camera? Then I started going back to that. And I'm like, what is this? So that started driving me crazy. Yeah. Do you want to laugh about that? Oh, goodness. Anyway, so then that was just one of the things. Okay. At some point, I started realizing that the people upstairs, let's use this for example, if they had to go to the bathroom before, I could hear it. Like, it would just like be normal, like somebody's using the bathroom, you could kind of hear it. And then what started happening is, like, okay, so weird. The bathroom like was being used, but not like normal. Not like somebody'd walk up to the toilet, which I could hear. It was like, if I was in the bathroom, it's almost like somebody took a cup and poured water into the toilet, and then it would flush. Okay, so which I know, okay, whatever. But I'm telling you, I can hear. I can hear the footsteps. I can hear everything. It's like it's just like if somebody were upstairs in a house, but this is like a condo apartment type of thing. So that was one thing. Then what else did I start noticing? I finally started noticing the craziest things. And this took a while, but it happened after something else. But okay. Let's just start with this. So I started going to bed at night. And I am like, okay, why can I see through my ceiling? That is what I was thinking. Like, I couldn't see perfectly, but I could see total shadows. I could see that it was like exactly as I suspected, that there were people going in and out of this place, but that they were kind of living or moving around on the edge of the like that's the ceiling, you know. But at one point over like the sprinkler system, it's like they would lift out a chunk of the floor, and I could hear this in a couple of certain places. One if I went to the living room, one if I was in my room, and then one if I was in the bathroom or the closet. But it happened to be right between, so they could lift out a chunk of the floor. Whatever. That's, you know, that's the way that I can explain this. So, and I'm thinking at night I go to bed, and all of a sudden I could like see these shadows, like it was really really light upstairs, and I could see through the ceiling and see there are shadows. That's the best way I can describe it. And I'm like, this is such a trip. So then I started looking into, I had heard about, oh, I can't remember. It's like sheetrock you could kind of see through with some technology or something like that. But I never even got more into that because it was just exhausting. I couldn't figure out. And I'm like, these people are shining lights down. And then pretty soon they'd go off, you know. And I just was like, what is this? And it wouldn't last long. Oh. But before that all started happening, I remember I would go to bed and I'd sit on the edge of my bed for a second and whatever, shut the light off, lay down. And it was literally like clockwork. It would be like within 5 minutes that what felt like the neon light outside my bedroom window would just like kind of, and it'd go out. I mean, not just go out a little, because they light this place up like a football field around here. It would be like black, pitch black. And I started to notice this pattern every night. And I'm like, is this a motion activated light? What's the deal? And certainly I'm not activating it from the second that I sit in my bed that it would go out exactly like within 5 minutes of me going to bed. So that was a pattern that I noticed. Then this thing about like being able to see through the ceiling or these lights and the shadows above, like that was another thing. I didn't know what to make of this stuff. Then one night, well, a couple things. Then I'm in bed and I started to like have these, it was almost like the second that I got in bed, it was almost like I had like these visions of these shadows, like literally walking out of the wall, walking around to my side of the bed, and then I could feel stuff on my body being like poked and prodded, almost like I was being operated on. It's the only way I can describe it. Now this happened a number of times and nights and whatever. But at first, it wasn't as clear. What I started realizing is it was kind of like a black and white TV, actually grayscale, that had like some static in it. And I thought, what in the world is this? And so I started Googling. Oh, I started realizing that I could see all this stuff with my eyes closed. I finally realized my eyes were closed. And I'm like, so I started Googling, why can't I see grayscale stuff when my eyes are closed? You know, then that was a whole other trip down education lane. And so then I started learning more stuff. I know this video is going to run out, and so I have to end it here, but I will pick up in a minute and continue the story. So hang in there. Thank you again. This is Marlene with Angels Among Us, and this is part 4B.